I was told to bring everything and somehow still brought the wrong thing. The call came at 2 a.m., jolting me from deep sleep. My brother Devin's voice was tight with panic, completely different from... My phone rang at 2 a.m. I fumbled in the dark, squinting at the screen to see my brother's name flashing. Devin never called this late unless something was wrong. Malik, I need you. His voice was shaky, urgent. Can you come to the cabin at Frost Lake right now? I sat up, instantly alert. What's going on? Just come and bring everything. Static crackled through the line. I'm in trouble. I need to disappear for a while. The call cut out before I could ask more questions. I tried calling back 3 times but got sent straight to voicemail. I was worried but not surprised. Devin had a habit of getting in over his head. I assumed it was either money problems again or something with Cassidy. They'd broken up last month, and she'd been sending increasingly threatening texts ever since. I threw on clothes and packed a duffel bag with essentials. Some t-shirts, jeans, toiletries, granola bars, and a first aid kit seemed like a good start. I added a flashlight, batteries, and a phone charger. I grabbed $300 from my dresser drawer. Devin would need cash if he was really planning to disappear. I even tossed in a couple of video games, knowing how restless he got when hiding out. The family cabin hadn't been used much since Dad died. It was remote enough to be a good hideout, though. The drive took 40 minutes on dark country roads. My headlights carved through the thick forest as I approached the old place. Something felt off immediately. There were 3 cars parked outside. None of them was Devin's pickup truck. I pulled in slowly, keeping my engine running. The porch light was on, casting long shadows across the yard. The front door stood slightly ajar. That made no sense. Devin had been paranoid about security since someone broke into his apartment last year. He would never leave a door unlocked. I grabbed my duffel bag and approached cautiously. Devin, I called out, pushing the door open wider. The living room furniture had been pushed against the walls. Multiple muddy footprints tracked across the carpet. This wasn't just Devin hiding out. In here, his voice came from the back bedroom, sounding strained. Malik, is that you? Before I could answer, someone else responded. Come on back. The voice was male, unnervingly friendly, and definitely not Devin's. I froze in the hallway. Small red drops dotted the floor, leading toward the bedroom. Blood. Malik, Devin called again. Did you bring everything from the garage like we talked about last week? We hadn't talked about anything from the garage. I hadn't spoken to Devin in almost 2 weeks. I heard whispers behind the bedroom door. Then Devin spoke again, his voice flat and robotic. Remember that package I told you about in the garage compartment? I need that right now. I suddenly understood what bring everything meant. There was something specific in the garage that these people wanted. A woman appeared from the kitchen doorway. She watched me nervously, her eyes darting between me and the hallway leading to the bedroom. I backed toward the front door. Heavy footsteps approached from the hallway. A bearded man appeared in the doorway. He was holding something metallic in his right hand. Combat boots, flannel shirt, cold eyes. I didn't wait to see more. I dropped the duffel bag and ran for my car. Whatever Devin was involved in, it was worse than I'd imagined. And now, I was part of it too. I stepped into the living room, trying to make sense of the scene. The couch was shoved against the wall at an odd angle. The coffee table had been pushed aside. Something was very wrong. The muddy footprints crisscrossed the floor in multiple patterns. At least 3 or 4 different people had been moving around recently. I heard muffled voices from the back of the cabin. Devin, I called out again, my voice sounding too loud in the strange silence. Back here, Devin responded, his voice tight and unnatural. In the bedroom. I moved cautiously down the hallway. The small red droplets on the floor formed a scattered trail toward the bedroom door. Fresh blood. Is everything okay? I asked, stopping a few feet from the door. A different voice answered. Everything's fine. Come on in and see your brother. The man's tone was casual, almost friendly, but something about it sent chills down my spine. I heard urgent whispers behind the door. Someone shushed another person. A woman said something too quiet to make out. The door opened slightly. I could see Devin's face in the gap, but only partially. His left eye looked swollen. Hey Malik, he said, his voice strangely flat. Did you bring that package I asked about from the garage compartment? I frowned. What package? You never mentioned anything about... Last week, Devin interrupted, speaking like he was reading from a script. Remember when I told you about the special package in the garage? The one I said was really important? I realized he was trying to tell me something. 2 weeks ago, he'd mentioned storing something valuable at the cabin. He'd been secretive about it, saying it was insurance for a deal he was working on. Oh right, I said, playing along. That package! More whispers came from behind the door. A woman emerged from the kitchen behind me. She was thin, with dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She watched me with nervous eyes. Faith, get back in here. A man's voice called from the bedroom. The woman, Faith, hesitated, then slipped past me into the bedroom. I took a step back toward the front door. Something metallic clicked behind the bedroom door. So about that package, the male voice said, no longer bothering to sound friendly. You're going to get it for us, right now. I don't know what you're talking about, I said, backing up another step. Who are you people? The bedroom door swung open fully. Devin stood there with a tall, bearded man behind him. The man had one hand on Devin's shoulder, the other held a gun. I'm Warren, the bearded man said, and you're going to help us, or things are going to get very unpleasant for your brother. 2 more men appeared in the doorway behind them. One was muscular with tattoos covering his arms. The other was shorter, wearing glasses and holding what looked like a laptop. I glanced over my shoulder at the front door. It was still open. My car keys were in my pocket. Don't even think about it, Warren said, pressing the gun against Devin's ribs. Grant, show him what we're dealing with. The tattooed man stepped forward and pushed open the door wider. I could see into the bedroom now. A young woman sat tied to a chair, her head slumped forward. Dark hair covered her face, but I recognized her as Amara, Devin's girlfriend. Her arm had a cut that was slowly dripping blood onto the floor. "Oh God," I whispered. "What did you do to her?" "Nothing compared to what happens next if you don't cooperate," Warren said. "Now, about that garage. Devin tells me there's something very important stored there, something that belongs to me." I looked at Devin. His face was a mask of fear and guilt. "I'm sorry, Malik," he said. "I didn't mean to drag you into this." "Enough talking," Warren snapped. "You have 5 minutes to bring me what's in that garage compartment, and don't try anything stupid. Grant and Terrell will be watching." The tattooed man, Grant, stepped toward me. Another man, presumably Terrell, appeared from the kitchen holding a radio. 4 minutes and 50 seconds, Warren said, looking at his watch. "Clock's ticking." I backed toward the door, my mind racing. Whatever was in the garage, these people were willing to hurt Devin and Amara to get it. And now I was caught in the middle of whatever mess my brother had created. "I'll get it," I said, raising my hands. "Just don't hurt them." Warren smiled coldly. "Smart choice. Now hurry up." I turned and walked toward the door, feeling their eyes on my back. Whatever Devin had hidden in the garage, it was clearly valuable enough to kill for, and now I had to find it before time ran out. I backed toward the front door, my heart hammered in my chest as heavy footsteps approached from the hallway. Whatever Devin had gotten himself into, it was deadly serious. Warren emerged first, holding a gun pointed directly at me. Grant and another man I assumed was Terrell flanked him on either side. Their expressions were cold, calculating. "Going somewhere?" Warren asked. "I thought we were having a nice chat about that garage package." Devin stumbled into view behind them. His face was bruised, one eye swollen nearly shut. A shorter man with glasses, Seth, I guessed, held a gun against my brother's back. "Malik, I'm sorry," Devin said, his voice cracking. "I never meant for you to get involved." Warren gestured toward the bedroom with his gun. "Show him what we're dealing with, Grant." Grant disappeared into the bedroom and returned, dragging Amara with him. Her hands were bound with zip ties, and dried blood crusted the side of her face. She was barely conscious. The blood trail on the floor suddenly made sickening sense. "Jesus," I whispered. "What did you do to her?" "Nothing compared to what happens next if you don't cooperate," Warren said. "Now, about that garage. You have 5 minutes to bring me what's in there." I glanced at Devin. His eyes were pleading, desperate. "I don't even know what I'm looking for," I said. "Your brother hid something that belongs to me," Warren replied. "A package, waterproof case, black, about this big." He gestured with his hands to indicate something the size of a small briefcase. "I've never seen anything like that," I lied. 2 weeks ago, Devin had mentioned storing something at the cabin, calling it his insurance policy. 3 minutes left," Warren said, checking his watch. "Grant and Terrell will escort you. Try anything stupid, and Seth puts a bullet in your brother's kneecap." I nodded slowly. "Fine, I'll check the garage." Grant grabbed my arm roughly. "Move it." We were halfway to the front door when headlights swept across the windows. A vehicle was pulling up outside. "Who the hell is that?" Warren hissed. "Terrell, check it out." Terrell peered through the curtains. "Sheriff's car. It's Blake." Warren's face hardened. "Did you call someone?" he demanded, jabbing his gun toward me. "How could I? I just got here," I said. Devin coughed. "Silent alarm. I installed it after the break-in at my apartment. Automatically alerts the sheriff if triggered." Warren slammed his fist into the wall. "Seth, get Amara back in the bedroom. Grant, take our guest to find that package. Now." The room erupted into frantic motion. Seth dragged Amara back toward the bedroom while Grant shoved me toward the back door. A knock sounded at the front door. "Devin, it's Sheriff Blake. Everything okay in there? Got an alert from your security system." Warren pressed his gun against Devin's temple. "Tell him everything's fine. One wrong word and you're dead." Devin swallowed hard. "It's all good, Sheriff. Just triggered it by accident when I came in." "You sure about that? Mind if I come in and check?" Blake called back. I locked eyes with Devin. This might be our only chance. I needed to warn Blake somehow. "Get that package," Warren whispered fiercely to me, "or they both die." Grant pushed me toward the back door that led to the garage. I stumbled forward, my mind racing. "Sheriff," I suddenly shouted. "They've got guns. Hostages." All hell broke loose. Warren lunged at me with a roar of rage. Grant tackled me to the floor. Outside, I heard Blake shouting into his radio for backup. Warren aimed his gun at Devin's head. "Get me that package right now, or your brother dies first." Blake's voice boomed through the door. "This is the sheriff. Everyone inside! Drop your weapons. I've called for backup." "Last chance," Warren snarled at me. "Garage, package. Now." I looked at Devin, at Amara slumped in the doorway, at the guns pointed at both of them. I had no choice. "Fine," I said. "I'll get your damn package." Warren nodded to Grant. "Take him. 5 minutes. If you're not back, I start shooting hostages." Grant yanked me up and shoved me toward the back door. Behind us, Terrell was moving furniture to barricade the front entrance. Seth had positioned himself at a window with his gun drawn. As Grant pushed me into the garage, I heard sirens in the distance. Help was coming, but would it arrive in time? Grant pushed me toward the back door leading to the garage. His grip was painfully tight on my arm. Warren's threat echoed in my ears. 5 minutes to find the package or people would die. "Move faster," Grant growled, shoving me through the doorway. The garage was dark and cluttered. I fumbled for the light switch while Grant kept his gun trained on my back. Dust particles floated in the beam of the single bulb that flickered to life. "Where is it?" Grant demanded, scanning the space impatiently. I pretended to search, buying time. "I don't know exactly. Devin never showed me." Through the thin walls, I heard Sheriff Blake's voice growing louder. He was demanding entry. Warren shouted something back. The standoff was escalating. "You better find it fast," Grant said, checking his watch. 3 minutes left. I moved toward the far wall where Dad's old workbench stood. Wooden shelves above it held dusty tools and boxes. If Devin had hidden something important, this would be the logical place. What exactly am I looking for? I asked, stalling further. Grant's face hardened. A waterproof case. Black. About this big. He gestured with his hands. Stop playing dumb. I knocked some tools aside, making as much noise as possible. I wanted Blake to hear activity in the garage. My eyes darted around for anything I could use as a weapon. I think I see something, I said, pointing to a high shelf. Grant stepped closer, momentarily lowering his gun. Where? I grabbed a heavy wrench and swung it hard. Grant blocked it with his arm and cursed. The gun clattered to the floor between us. We both lunged for it. Grant was faster. He grabbed the weapon and slammed the butt against my temple. Pain exploded through my skull. Try that again and you're dead, he snarled. Blood trickled down my face as I stumbled backward. My hand brushed against something under the workbench, a loose panel in the wall. I felt around it, discovering a hidden compartment. Wait, I said. I think I found something. I pulled out a black waterproof case exactly as Warren had described. Grant's eyes lit up with greed. Open it, he ordered. I unlatched the case. Inside were documents, flash drives, and several bundles of cash. Grant reached for it eagerly. This is it, he said, more to himself than to me. He keyed his radio. Warren, I got it. The radio crackled. Bring it in, now. Grant hesitated, looking at the money. Actually, there's a problem. Need a minute to sort it out. I realized Grant was considering taking the package for himself. His eyes darted between the case and the side door that led outside. Warren's voice came through the radio again. What problem? Get back in here. A sudden crash came from the main cabin, the sound of the front door being forced open. Blake had made his move. Grant grabbed the case and backed toward the garage's side exit. You stay here, he ordered. I lunged at him, desperate to keep him from escaping with whatever evidence was in that case. We crashed into a shelf, sending tools raining down around us. The garage door flew open. Terrell stood there wild-eyed. Police are inside! Warren says bring the package now. Grant shoved Terrell hard. Every man for himself, he growled, still clutching the case. Terrell recovered quickly, pulling his gun. Give me the case, Grant. I used their distraction to dive behind the workbench. Shouts and gunfire erupted from the main cabin. The standoff had turned violent. You backstabbing piece of... Terrell never finished his sentence. Grant shot him twice in the chest. I crawled toward the door leading back to the cabin. Grant was focused on the side exit, his back to me. I slipped through the door and ran down the hallway. The scene inside was chaos. Sheriff Blake had entered with his weapon drawn. Warren was using Devin as a human shield, backing toward the bedroom where Amara was still tied up. Drop your weapons, Blake shouted. Backup is 30 seconds out. Seth was surrendering, hands raised. Faith cowered in the corner. Warren looked desperate, his gun pressed against Devin's head. Stay back or he dies, Warren threatened. I caught Devin's eye and nodded slightly. He understood immediately. When Warren glanced toward Blake, Devin drove his elbow hard into Warren's stomach. Warren doubled over, and Devin broke free. Blake tackled Warren as sirens wailed outside. Multiple police cars screeched to a halt in front of the cabin. Armed officers rushed in, securing the scene within seconds. The garage, I shouted to Blake. Grant has the evidence. He killed Terrell. 2 officers sprinted toward the garage but returned moments later. Side doors open, no sign of him. I rushed to Devin, who was helping untie Amara. Her face was pale, but she was conscious. The cut on her arm had stopped bleeding. Are you okay? I asked them both. Devin nodded, his face grim. I'm so sorry, Malik. I never meant for any of this. What was in that case? I demanded. What did you get mixed up in? Before he could answer, medics entered to treat Amara. Blake approached us, holstering his weapon. We need statements from both of you, he said. What exactly happened here? Devin looked at me, then at Blake. Warren runs a drug operation across 3 counties. I was their accountant. I found evidence of everything. Names, dates, amounts. It's all in that case. And you stole it? Blake concluded. I was trying to get out, Devin said. They threatened Amara when they realized what I'd taken. Blake's radio crackled. Sheriff, we've got a man matching Grant's description. Roadblock on County Road 16. Take him alive, Blake ordered. We need that evidence. Within an hour, they had Grant in custody, and the case was secured. The documents inside revealed Warren's entire operation, over $200,000 in drug money, names of corrupt officials, and detailed records of every transaction. 2 weeks later, Devin, Amara, and I sat in a federal building downtown. We'd been placed in witness protection while the case against Warren's network proceeded. I never wanted to drag you into this, Devin said for the 100th time. I looked at my brother's still bruised face. You could have told me the truth from the beginning. I was trying to protect you, he replied. I got in over my head. By the time I realized how dangerous Warren was, it was too late. Amara squeezed his hand. We're safe now. That's what matters. The federal agent assigned to our case entered with fresh coffee. Grant's talking. With his testimony and the evidence you provided, Warren's looking at 20 years minimum. Quote, I stared out the window at the unfamiliar city that would be our home for the foreseeable future. New names, new identities, new lives. What happens now? I asked. You start over, the agent said simply. All of you. Devin met my eyes. For the first time since this nightmare began, I saw something like hope in his face. We had a second chance. Despite everything, we were still brothers. And this time, we'd face whatever came next together.